Okay, so good morning, everyone. It's Friday. It's the last day of the week. Thank goodness, right? So what we're going to do now, let me go over to this thing real quick. Well, it's not real quick, but excuse me. I've been eating sawdust all morning, so excuse me. So I got the last two pieces of this trim stuff that's supposed to hide the joinery. Okay, so this stuff here, I got the last three pieces, these little guys on here. It works out pretty good. There was some tear out on the ends of these guys, so there's little gaps here and stuff, but I'll be able to fix that. The plans had called for making these strips just a little bit wider than the thickness of the board, so you can trim them down to size after all. And that's something I'm currently working on. And there's a couple different ways you can do this. It's really difficult to get inside here to trim these, okay? So these guys might actually have to go by sanding or hand chiseled or something like that. We've got a couple options here, okay? A little low angle block plane like this, right, can get in here and clean it up pretty nice, but it won't reach all the way to the end, right? You use a chisel in there, but there's actually another way to do it. So this is called a chisel plane, all right? I hope you guys can see it. But the thing about this chisel plane is, here's the plane iron right here, okay? It goes all the way to the end of the plane, all right? So this allows you to get into corners. I don't know if my hand's in the way, but it allows you to get into corners, right into the corner. So that's another possibility. You can kind of see how it's, I don't know, you probably can't see how it's working. So a chisel plane's nice because it can actually get right into the corner, okay? So we've got that. I've got some chisels that I'm going to use to clean it up, but in all honesty, the chisels, I'm going to have to sharpen them. So probably tomorrow or Sunday, I'll come in and I'll sharpen a few chisels so I have something really sharp to clean this up. Because the problem is this. When it comes to oak, okay, you're kind of at the mercy of the grain direction. So if the grain direction on this oak is going this way as opposed to this way, right? I hope, can you guys see that? Can anybody talk and just tell me they can see that, hopefully? Okay, you can see these.
Yeah, I can see it.
Okay, good. You can see these rays. Our grain direction is going this way. So if I take a chisel, and it's even partially dull, right? And I try to chisel this way, I'm going to catch that grain and tear it out. Okay, oak is notorious for that. Oak's terrible about the grain. These chisels tend to want to follow the grain, no problem. And I was doing it a little bit this morning, and that's the problem I have right here is the grain direction is going the wrong way. So it will help tremendously to have a really razor sharp chisel. That can sometimes defeat that nasty grain direction that you have to deal with all the time. Okay, so one way or the other, I'll get them cleaned up and ready to go. So what we're working on now, I've made a couple decisions about the tambour doors. And we saw that one video where the guy did the tambour doors face down, rolled wood glue all over it, put the canvas on there, and then ironed it for a while and got it to stick, and it turned out really good. The problem with ours is the design, here I'll pull it up. The design of this, let me see if I can find the timbres here. There's a separate section on making a timbre. Excuse me, folks. All right, making the timbres. All right, so what's the easiest way to spot? Okay, here we go. Okay, here's the problem. Okay, if I do it face down, right, these rounded edges, these rounded faces are going to be down. There's going to be no way to hold these in place. They're going to flip-flop all over the place. They're going to want to roll all over on these flats, on these round surfaces if I put it face down. That's the drawback of this particular design. So I believe what we're going to do is, I was talking with Bungie yesterday, and I think what we're going to end up doing is, instead of making this a round front, we're going to make it a flat front with a small 1/8 inch round over at each edge. Okay, that'll allow us to do this face down. You can kind of see it here, right? This is after the fact. Okay, this is what they're using to cut. This is just a jig they're using to cut the little rabbits along the edges so it'll fit in the timbre grooves. But this is how I want to glue them up, and I can't do it with these round surfaces like this. So I'm going to have to find a different way. So I think we're going to try that. It'll look nice. It's not a problem. But the next issue I have and what we're working on next is the drawers, okay? So what I've done is I've milled a bunch of material down. Here's the funky thing about the drawers. Check this out. Okay, lower drawer fronts, 5/8 thick. Lower drawer backs, 1/2 inch thick. Lower drawer sides, 3/8 inch thick. The sides, the backs, and the fronts are all different thicknesses, okay? Coconuts, why they do it that way, I don't know, but it's just crazy. So what I did was I took one long board that's about 3.5, 4 inches wide. I milled it down to 5/8 thick. Another long board, milled it down to 1/2 inch thick. And another long board, milled it down to 3/8 inch thick. And at my initial drawings, I'll get all of our pieces out of this, all of our drawer parts out of this. Okay, so what I'm doing right now is measuring and marking out these guys, making sure I know what I have, and getting ready to joint one edge and rip them to final width. Now, when I joint one edge, before I rip them to final width, okay, I'm gonna set the fence on the table saw at the recommended width, say 3 inches, 2 3/8 inches, whatever the case may be. Then I'm gonna rip a piece of scrap wood and make sure it fits the way I want it to fit in the drawer opening. And let me tell you why. I'm probably gonna lose you. I'm going into the office and this doesn't transmit that far. Give me 1 second. So this is the stuff I bought instead of what they want you to use for the drawers, which I thought was just kind of silly. I don't know why they do it this way. Some of these plans, the project for first period, which is a drill press cabinet, the way they do the drawers is just plain silly. But if you look back in the plans, they wanted, where are they? They're going to be in these little divider guys. Yeah, here they are. They got these little plastic stem bumpers that you drilled holes in the edges of the dividers here. You can kind of see one there. And that's to guide the drawer, okay? So I couldn't find anything like that that I liked. The ones I found, they stuck out way too much, and it would have really played havoc on the gaps between the drawers and the openings for the drawers. What you want is if you're lucky, about a 1/16 inch gap all the way around the drawers. Let's see if they show a picture of it. Okay, you want a consistent about a 1/16 of an inch gap all the way around the drawer, which means that the length of the drawer in this direction, or the width of the drawer, is 1/8 of an inch less than the opening. That leaves you a 1/16 at both sides. The height of the drawer front, or the width of the drawer front, is about 1/8 of an inch smaller than the opening, which gives you a 1/16 of an inch at the bottom and at the top. Okay, so what I did, which we're going to find out if it's really smart and awesome, or if I'm just a complete and utter idiot. So what I've done, instead of those plastic bumpers, all right, here's what I did. Okay, let me see if I can move this so you can see me. All right, it's going to take a second to get it all the way around. Let me zoom it out a little bit. It goes faster when it's zoomed out, I think. Whoops, wrong way. What? Oh gosh. So all right, so where am I? Oh, I'm still over here. So morning, everyone. So here's what I did. I bought this stuff on Amazon. It's UHMW tape with acrylic adhesive. And what it is, this is like, this stuff is, it's an adhesive backed, I believe it's 1/2 inch wide. 1/2 inch wide, okay? So the back, it's just basically a roll of tape, but the face of the tape is this incredibly slick material. So what I want to do is, so let's say this is a drawer. I'm going to adhere a piece of tape to either the side of the drawer or the inside of the opening along the side and along the bottom. And depending on the thickness of the stuff, when I finally measure the thickness of the stuff, if it's about it might be about a 1/16 of an inch thick as it is. It's not very thin. So let's take a look at it. This stuff is slicker than snot. I used to put a wider version of this on my table saw fence. And it just had the material just flat out slid right across and just flies right off. So I'm going to get a caliper here and we'll check the thickness of this stuff. The thickness of this stuff is going to determine the final width of all the drawer parts. So I may have to make the drawer parts like a 32nd or a 1/16 of an inch bigger. But let's see how thick this stuff is. Oh, what is that weird? That's kind of weird. All right, so it's going to open up and go all over the place. So we've got, let's zero this thing out. 0.025. What is that? Is that a 1/16? No, it's not. 0.025. It's between a 64th and a 32nd. Okay. Wow. 0.25. Okay. So I'm going to have to adjust the width of the drawer parts to compensate for that. Actually, I have a fantastic idea. No, that's kind of dumb. That probably won't work. I may have to think about this a little bit. So that's what I'd like to do for the drawer. And hopefully it works. All right. I always forget to look in the camera. I look down here and then you're looking at the top of my bald head. So hope that stuff should work pretty good. Okay. I just have to compensate for the thickness of it. So, all right. So the next thing I want to do is I'm going to move this to, let's see. I can't remember which button I'm supposed to push to get to the right place. That's the one. So here's what I want to do. And this is part and parcel of something we all need to be comfortable doing. Okay. Logan showed up. All right. This is an important step. So what I've done so far, I have plans here. So what I've done so far is I marked out rough dimensions on length on these parts. I didn't bother doing width in rough dimensions because, well, I don't need to. The boards I used were just a little under 4 inches wide. So I'm not getting two pieces out of the width of these things. So what I've done is I've got my 5/8 inch thick material, I've got my 1/2 inch thick material, and I've got my 3/8 of an inch thick material. Okay, so when I drew them to rough dimensions, I labeled my parts. I don't know if you guys can see that or not, but this is X1. Here's my parts. Okay, so there's only one X, I think. Is there only one X? Yeah, there's only one of them. That's a large upper drawer. Okay. So here's the funky thing is now I've got to figure out the widths. Okay. So I can go from the back. Okay. I don't have that edge banding trimmed yet. So if I try to go from the front, it's not going to be accurate. So I'll go from the back on that. So, all right. So according to this, sides are what I'm concerned about. 3 inches and 2 3/8. So those are our two different widths. So I'm going to rip a piece of scrap at 3 inches and another one at 2 3/8, and we're going to see how they fit. Okay, so 3 inches. We're just going to do it exactly how they say. So there's our 3 inch one. Now we're going to go one at 2 3/8. So I'm going to bring this cabinet over here to this other table. I'm going to have to move the camera really far. And it's easier to move with the camera, to be honest with you. The camera's a pain in the butt to move. Control for this, people. You know that? So I'm going to have to go from the back because I don't have that stuff trimmed yet. That egg fan and stuff. So I've got a 3-inch wide piece and a 2 3/8 inch wide piece. So let's take a look at how they fit. Okay. This is really, really important to get the fit of these drawers right. Okay, so here's my little one. It's got fuzzies all over it. Here's what I'm concerned about. How is this H tape going to fit? All right. I guess I could probably go ahead and put some in, but so there's my fit. All right. Wow, that's going to be really, really good with that tape, I think. So I got a grand idea. I'm just going to take a piece of that tape and go ahead and stick it in there and see what happens. Okay, so I'll have to pull it out to apply finish, but we can go ahead and stick a piece on there and see how the gap is going to be. And so, what is that silly thing on there? All right, so I need about 8.5 inches. About 8.5 inches out here. About right there. Stuff is just like slicker and snot. Probably. It's supposed to be sticky back, and it certainly is. I'm just going to go ahead. This stuff is not that expensive. I can't remember what I paid for it, but I paid for it myself. And I wouldn't have spent too much on it, to be honest with you. I'm going to stick one in here. Okay. Don't stick yet. This is really sticky stuff. Oh, come on. So this is harder to get in there than I thought it would be. All right, so there we are. Okay, so that's the thickness we have. So let's see what it does to our gap. I'm sure you guys can't see the gap in here, but wow, that's going to be perfect. That's going to be perfect. We're going to have a great gap all the way around. Let's check this upper. It's at 8.5, right? 8.5. We'll do the same thing to the upper. Go ahead and stick a piece in there and see what we get. So I'm hoping, now the next thing we have to make sure is I'll have a piece here and here. I'll also have a piece on the sides. That's going to be twice the thickness, right? We're not putting one on top and bottom. So that's going to be interesting. I'm going to do this a little differently. So we'll have to do a test before we cut the length. We'll have to check it. Okay, there we go. Oh, shoot. I kind of messed that up. That's going to have to come off. But all I care about. Wow, that's going to be like a perfect gap. Okay, so that's going to work. So those widths are going to work for us. So we can go ahead and rip these guys to width. Now here's the question. Which one of these are 2 3/8 wide and which of them are 3 inches wide? So I need to get them marked. In fact, I think I did mark them. Let's go. Okay, I think I did mark them. I was working on it, I didn't get it done. So X is 2 3/8. Double B is, thank goodness, 2 3/8. So I don't have to separate these. That would have been a real pain because this is too short for all the stuff we got going on. What's our T's? T's are 3 inches. So I've got those marked. U is 3 inches. Z's are 2 3/8. Double D's are 2 3/8. And V's are 3 inches. So I think I've got them all marked. So our 3 inch stack, our 2 3/8 stack, 2 3/8, 2 3/8, 3, and 2 3/8. All right, far out. This stuff really sticks good, so it should be interesting. All right, so joiner. Come on. Joiner. All right, so before I actually do the jointing on this, one of the things I like to do, and I'd like to see you guys do in the future, when you get back, not if you get back, when you get back, is this. Let me get this out of the way. What I like to do is to be as methodical about my milling process as I can. Okay. So basically, I'm just going to sight down the edge of each of these boards and pick the best edge for joining. And I'm going to have the edge I want to joint that direction. I don't know if you can see me. I'm kind of, yeah, kind of. So I want to, that, yeah. Good, good. Good. Because I don't want to remove too much material. These aren't like uber wide. All right, here we go. The joining process. So all I have to do is pick it up. I know which edge I want to join. Like usual, I'm going to listen to the joiner to determine when it's done. Alright, then I'm going to take my board and I'm going to set the joining edge facing away from the finish on the right side of the finish. So there's my prep for the table saw. Okay. I've got everything marked on my boards. Otherwise, I would, well, I probably will anyway, just to double check. Have my plans sitting here. It's all junk for the beginning classes this afternoon. All right, so here's my 2 3/8 file. And I'm set at 2 3/8 right now. That's what I cut that spacer to. So I know I can go ahead and do it. Okay, I know it's the right size. So I'm gonna double check it. B, B's, and X. 2 3/8, 2 3/8. C, C's, and Y. 2 3/8, 2 3/8. The Z's, 2 3/8, and the double D's, 2 3/8. All right, and that means that the T's are 3. Where's my T's? There's a T. My U should be 3. U is 3, and my V's should be 3. All right, we're good to go. So we've set it 2 3/8. We're ready to rock. Push stick, everything is there. Come on. Now I gotta go to 3. And here's our 3. The way I like to do it, and it works great for me. Like I said, when I come from the joiner, all my jointed edges are to the right. So all I have to do is pick it up, I'm ready to go. It's really good to keep things in the right order. And the more that you do things the same way every time, the less chance there is for error. I don't have to worry about flipping this to get the jointed edges into pins. That's my point. Just pick it up, ready to go. And that's it. Okay? So that's what I mean about trying to keep things arranged the same way, no matter what you're doing. When it comes to the milling process, it's the same thing for thicknessing. Okay? You joint a face, assuming you can. That jointed face goes down on the, here. Whoops, that's going the wrong way. Okay, that jointed face goes down in the planer. It's another reason when I'm at the drum sander, every time I put a board through the drum sander, I put it through this way, then I'm gonna turn it, next pass, I'm gonna have the other end going first, and the next pass, I'm gonna have the other going first. On the joiner, I like to set all my boards up in a specific way. So all I got to do is pick it up, boom, put it on the joiner, ready to go. Okay. And I try to do it the same way every time because, well, probably the biggest reason for it is at my age, I forget crap all the time. So this helps me to keep from forgetting where I am in the process, what I'm supposed to do next. I mean, it gets bad sometimes, folks. It does. So the more consistent I can be in the way I move through the shop and move my lumber and set my lumber in certain places and in certain ways, the better chance I have of not screwing up, and the better chance I have of being a lot more consistent in the way I do things. You guys have heard me talk about the way I want my, especially in beginning woods, the way I want you guys to put a board through the table saw. I'm really, really specific about where you stand, where your hands are, what each hand's job is, where your eyes are supposed to be. And the more consistent you are in regards to how you run a machine, in regards to how you feed a board into a machine at a certain speed, the better results you're going to get. So that's kind of the spiel for that. I cannot go ahead and cut these to length yet, because the next thing I need to do is put some of this UH tape on the two sides of the drawer opening and measure my gap. And if you guys will look at these plans, I want to show you something about these plans. I may take some time this weekend to see if there's an easier way to do it. But let me show you what I'm talking about here. They are weird the way they want to do this. Okay, look at this drawer. Now, they've got differing thicknesses on the back, the front, and then the two sides. Okay, I believe this is 5/8 thick, this is a 1/2 inch thick, these are 3/8 thick. But if you look at the joinery on the end of this board, here's the detail. Okay, here's the drawer front. Okay, it's a locking tongue and groove type of thing is what it is. Okay, but what I can't figure out, I'm guessing, and I need to read through this so that I understand it a little better. But, well, this does make it easy because the front and back reach all the way to, so that'll make it easy to get the overall lengths of the front and backs. So I'm not worried about that. It's just this joinery. And then what I don't see is, I see the joinery here. I understand that. That's normal. It's common. I've seen that before. No big deal. But then they trim it out with this beading. But I can't figure out, because I can't zoom this large enough, I cannot figure out for the life of me how that stuff is supposed to work. It's got to say it here somewhere, right? It's got to. Installing the ring pulls, fitting the blah, blah, blah. Here we go. This is probably going to tell us, make the lift rail. No, that's the lift rail, not the, add the molding. Did that. So this is really funky how they want to do this. So you see this drawer front right here. This is FF. This is this bullnose molding. It's a bead or cove bead molding. Okay, but where does it fit in relation to this? 1/4 inch this way, 3/8 this way, which means you're cutting into the drawer side. Wow, how do they expect you to? So Zeph made one of these last year, right? Zeph? No, he's a different class, sorry. And I'm guessing we did it differently. There is a much easier way to do this. I mean, there really is. Simply put rabbets on each end of the front and back, okay? And then literally just cut out another rabbet to accept this molding. That's a totally simple way to do it. And I think I've got time. I'll go ahead and try this and see how it works. But I don't see where this fits in to the overall scheme of things on the drawings, in all honesty. There's our side view. If they gave us another view here, false back, case, bottom divider. I don't know, I'll have to look at this. Locking rabbets, yeah, that's fine, whatever. What's your boat? Grooves, rabbeted bottoms, and then add a bead. So it says, come on, let go. Come on. Mitered around the drawer fronts is a nice complement. Pieces are simply glued into the rabbets cut around the outside of the front. So I guess you do the front, put the damn drawer together, assemble the drawer, then you can just cut rabbets, I guess. That seems kind of funky, but easy enough. That is a nice touch on the drawers. I will make sure to do that, but these beads around the drawer are a real nice touch. I like that. So where's my, oh, I can't do that. I got to stop share. I can't share. So am I loud or something? But if you're using headphones, is that why you said that? I'm always loud. You guys know that. You can't hear me in the shop.
No, I was saying that because the table.
You're breaking up. Hell, your mic's worse than mine, man. Okay, so
I said that because the table saw. If you heard that.
Table saw, yeah. All right, so I think we're going to call it for the day. There's not much more I can do until I figure out the length of the front and back with the tape in place, and I want to trim that edging before I put that tape in place and everything. So I'm going to leave it at that. So I want you guys to have a good weekend. Thank you for being here. Thank you for trying to get here on time. Have a nice weekend. Take care of yourselves, and we'll see you on Monday. Hasta la vista.
Classic, Brandon.
Classic? What did I do?
Hasta la vista, really?
Yeah. I should say goodbye in a different language every week, every day, I think. I'll try and figure out different languages and how do you say goodbye in Swahili, and pigeon is pigeon with a D is a language on an island in the South Pacific. Anyway, all right, have a good weekend.
Oh boy, looking forward to that.
Yeah, I'll figure it out. Later, guys.
All right, take care, Brennan.
All right, you too. All right.